Hey friends, and welcome back to another week of cooking. And this week I wanted something easy that I could just dump and go. So that's what I have. I have 4 recipes that are dump and go. I hope they help you and your family. The first is a veggie lasagna. Now for this lasagna, I just added pre-made sauce, and I got gluten-free noodles, but you can get whatever oven-ready noodles that you can find. And I just layered the sauce and the noodles, and then I had some freeze-dried veggies that saved me a lot of time, so I could just dump them in. Now, if you don't have that, you could buy pre-shredded veggies, frozen veggies, or you could make your own veggies or cut your own veggies. So I layered up a couple layers, and then I put my lid on and let that cook for 3 or 4 hours and came back and served it up. Now I realized that I probably should have added a little water to this, so when you're making this, go ahead and add a cup or a cup and a half of water. But it turned out really yummy and it was super easy. The next recipe I did was a ham and potato in the crock pot, and I just started by slicing up, well, I actually just roughly chopped these potatoes, but you could slice them as well, or if you have a food processor, you could slice them in that. I was just going for super easy. Then I just sliced up a onion and put that on the top. But if you don't like big chunky onions, you could chop your onions, make them small. And I bought this pre-sliced ham, so all I had to do was cut it into smaller chunks, and that made it super easy. Mixed that around. Then I added some kind of creamy sauce to it. So I added milk and some sour cream. You could probably also use softened cream cheese and salt and pepper and some chives. Mixed that up and poured that into the crock pot. Then I added a can of cream of chicken soup or cream of mushroom soup and mixed it up as best as I could. Now I went ahead and sprinkled some cheese on top, but I would suggest going ahead and waiting until it's cooked and put the cheese on later, because I realized when I looked back that most of the cheese had kind of melted. Now I wanted a little bit of a vegetable in here, so this is a really quick way to throw some frozen peas in and stir it up. They cook right up in the hot potato mixture. Now you can put your cheese on and then put the lid back on, let it set for 5 minutes, and it'll be melted. So it's not the prettiest meal, but it tasted really good, and I ate on it for several days afterwards. By this point in the week, my son he said something so funny when I told him what we were having. He said, "You sure do like that crock pot, don't you?" So he was getting a little tired of these, but they're so easy and they're so good. So for this one, I had some mushrooms in the fridge, so I just threw them in the bottom to use them up. And then we just got a half of pork, local pork. So we've got pork in the freezer now. So I put some pork chops in there, and I saved out one of the pork chops for him to grill up because he did not like the idea of having pork in the crock pot. Then you put all your ingredients in and let it cook for a while. Now, if your pork is soft enough, you could shred it up. Mine was not quite, so I didn't. Then you add your rice and you continue to cook it. And it actually turned out pretty good. I didn't even add any more liquid. It had plenty of liquid. I ended up adding more rice than the recipe called for, but it worked out. So then you fluff that up, and then I thought, I'd like to make this creamy. So I added softened cream cheese, but that's optional. It was kind of hard to stir, so I went ahead and took out the pork chops so I could stir the rest. Now, if your pork chops are shredded up, then that wouldn't be a problem. And then I thought I'll add some frozen vegetables to this one too, so I can have a little vegetable right in with the dish and not have to make a separate vegetable. Then I added back my pork chops to the pan and I served it up. Again, this is not the most beautiful, but I actually loved this rice. I thought it was delicious. It was so flavorful from all the juices and the different things. I really enjoyed the rice. The pork chops were good too. So I served it up, and that was our third meal of the week. So this last meal was kind of sporadic. I had found this pre-cooked stew meat in my freezer, and I thought I want to pull that out and defrost it and use it up in something. And I was looking around and I had a few veggies left in the fridge, and I thought I'll just chop it all up and throw it in and make a stew. And I had some broth left over from my last recipe, so I chopped all the veggies up. And I used the broth and some water in the crock pot, and I threw in a little salt to make it saltier. I threw in the meat. Now, if you didn't have pre-cooked meat, you could just throw in a package of stew meat, and it would cook up just the same. And I threw all my veggies in, a little bit of pepper, and then I just put the lid on and cooked it, and it was ready to go. It was so easy. I know soup is a little hot for a hot day, but I thought, why not use up things I need to use up and have a delicious meal ready for when everyone gets home and is hungry. So this is what I did this week. I hope you guys find some good recipes that you can use for your family to make life a little easier in the kitchen. Hey, thank you guys who have made it to the end. What did you do this week? One thing I got to do was take my dogs on a little hike, and we found some huckleberries. Do you guys know what huckleberries are? If you do, let me know in the comments. They are delicious. Have a great week, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.